Season 3 of The Mandalorian has just finished. Was it worth it or wasn't it? Let's discuss it. So welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome to this new video, obviously, The Mandalorian. Yes, now, I haven't reviewed The Mandalorian on a week-to-week basis. I didn't feel inspired to, shall we say. But the season has now ended. It's ended today, and I thought I would share my thoughts with it. Now, it's no secret that this season has riled a lot of fans up. It has put a lot of fans off. It has seen view figures drop. It has seen the ratings of the show decrease massively, episode on episode. So what went wrong? What went wrong? Was this season worth it or not? So obviously Star Wars came back several years ago with Disney Plus, and The Mandalorian was a tentpole feature for Disney. It was great. But Mandalorian Season 2 came at us, believe it or not, about 2 years ago. Quite a while. And in that time, we had to wait, and then we got Boba Fett, we got Andor, we got some animated shows, and now finally we did get Mandalorian Season 3. That time gap was an issue. It was. The series ended, Series 2, on a cliffhanger. You know, Luke Skywalker showed up. Grogu went off with Luke to learn the ways of the Force. And then, in a stupid decision, a very stupid decision, Disney decided to make 2 episodes of the Boba Fett show, The Mandalorian. And it answered the questions, and it showed exactly what had happened. Essentially putting Season 3 of Mandalorian back to where we were before Luke had taken Grogu. Not that that's a bad decision, but this should have been explored in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Boba Fett, the show, was obviously somewhat lackluster, and the Mandalorian stuff within it was fantastic. It was great. I'm not knocking that. It was the wrong decision to have it as part of that narrative, as part of that to give you your answers, because everyone had got their answers. So by the time Season 3, this season of The Mandalorian, began, everyone knew what had happened. And to be honest, with the reception of Boba Fett, you know, things were going sour for Star Wars on Disney Plus. So then we get Season 3 of The Mandalorian. It comes at us, a lot of excitement built up, and then the show went nowhere. It went nowhere. Those first couple of episodes just saw the Mandalorian himself just moseying on around with no real narrative, no real story-driven stuff within those episodes. And this is part of the reason why I didn't review it, because it felt like I was just watching stuff. I was watching stuff happening with no story. The season then decided to step away and give us an entire episode, only bookended by the Mandalorian himself, following that fella from Season 1, and this bird that worked with Moff Gideon, who have now sort of joined the rebellion, so to speak, or you know, not the rebellion, but you know what I'm saying, the good guys, which again amounted to very little. That whole story is pointless. You could skip that and you not missed anything whatsoever. We then get an episode. You know, we get an episode with Jack Black in and Christopher Lloyd. Wow, talk about take me out of the episode. You know, the casting decision there was nonsensical, as was the episode itself. It played like a fairy tale episode, like a sort of king and queen and a knight that has to go on this daring adventure to do something for the king and queen before we could focus on the main narrative point of that episode of the bigger picture, which was getting the Mandalorians together. So We had that nonsense as well. Not only this season here has seen us, it has weakened the Mandalorian himself, the main character, right? How many times throughout this entire season did we get him being saved by Bo-Katan? How many times? Must have been 4 times. There was 2 in one episode. When he was caught by the robot thing, and then when he fell into the water. In this latest episode, again, he's saved by her. He's being shown as being inept at what he does, at being somewhat mediocre at what he does, at not being particularly great at what he does. The series had no real focus. Okay, the last 2 episodes has ramped it up magnificently, and it has given us something fantastic on screen to look at. You know, very Star Wars-y, very good. The last 2 episodes were great. They were fun. Now, this whole series has been about the Mandalorian themselves coming together. These people, or the Mandalorians, if you will. It doesn't matter what term you use. The Mandalorian creed. The Mandalorian can be a plural in itself without putting the S on the end of the word, and that goes into this series. Now, it's no secret that Disney, you know, they don't know if they will have Pedro Pascal around for long in this role, because Pedro Pascal's stock is rising within Hollywood. He's on to other shows, other films, things like this. So it's very possible that at some point Pedro Pascal says, I can't do this anymore, or for whatever reason. The show then can set itself up as a Mandalorian show, following the Mandalorian people and the adventures that they have now that they are all back together, and it can still be called the Mandalorian. It doesn't have to be changed to the Mandalorians. See how that works? The Mandalorian it still works for a group of them, and that's what this series has been setting up, while almost shoving the main character himself, Pedro Pascal's character, a bit further back and bringing other people into the forefront. Is this a season too far? I don't think so. I think that, you know, this series has been indicative of issues with Star Wars, and with the way that Disney want to handle Star Wars. It has been said that these differences in different episodes comes down to the fact that they have different directors with a different voice, and they want these directors to voice what they want to voice. This here is a problem, because it's very similar kind of rhetoric as what occurred with the original 3 Star Wars sequel films, Force Awakens, etc. Let's have someone different do it, a different voice, do what you want, we don't care. It's that kind of an opinion, that kind of a voice, that kind of a narrative that's been spewed by Disney here, and it doesn't work. This show, along with anything Star Wars, anything universe related, needs a direction. It needs to know where it's going. It needs to go and stay on target, for want of a better term. And it doesn't. It meanders away off of this. It allows people to have this voice, and that's fine in any sort of normal show, but you can't do that here. You need to stay focused. You need a blueprint. You need to stick to it. You need to know what you're doing. And you know, Disney obviously haven't learnt from their mistakes with that sequel trilogy of films. They've made the same mistakes here in this series. The series, like I said, in recap, the series ended wonderfully. The last couple of episodes have been spot on. The rest have been bad to mediocre at best. It hasn't been a great season at all, and I understand why people have strayed away from it. And it's probably not even even some episodes it took me a couple of days to watch, because whereas it was before it was, oh, Mandalorian's on, I must watch the Mandalorian. It's like come to the end of the day and, oh, I forgot the Mandalorian was on this morning. The next day, I forgot Mandalorian was on yesterday. That's not good. That's not good in myself that has happened. It highlights a major problem. It really does. Anyway, so I just thought I'd have a little chat about this season. This season has been the weakest thus far. It certainly has. It has some good elements. It has some good stuff. It has some good stuff within the episode. The effects are fantastic. All that sort of a thing. I can't knock that. A couple of episodes have been highlights. Again, I can't knock that. But overall, it's not been fantastic. Thoughts down below. Share your thoughts on this season of The Mandalorian and what you thought about it. Whether it's worked for you, whether it hasn't worked for you. Am I talking trash? Is this the best season of The Mandalorian thus far for you? Or isn't it? Let us know. This is AJ. Again, thank you for watching and I shall see you all very, very soon. This is the way.